Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this from the National Cryptocurrency Association. The SEC has approved new rules that make it easier for stock exchanges to list crypto ETFs. Exchanges like NASDAQ and NYSE can now follow one set of standards instead of filing each ETF separately. For everyday Americans, this means crypto may be accessed through investment tools that already feel familiar. And they explain ETFs. I'm not going to go through this whole article. I just want to show you the highlights. So crypto-focused ETFs operate similarly, but with digital assets instead. So spot crypto funds keep real tokens in cold storage. So each share moves almost penny for penny with the market price of the coin. So all those spot XRP ETFs, there's going to be actual tokens kept in cold storage as they're selling those ETFs to institutional clients. That's why those are so important. Those can really drive up the price of XRP. Futures-based crypto ETFs don't hold the coin itself. Instead, they buy regulated futures contracts, agreements to purchase or sell the asset at a set price on a future date to mirror price movements. Though rolling those contracts can create small tracking gaps over time. Blockchain equity ETFs skip tokens entirely and invest in the companies building the DeFi ecosystem, from miners to chip makers to crypto exchanges. Then there's multi-asset digital economy ETFs. Blend crypto futures with blockchain-related stocks, aiming for steadier swings than pure play coins, but more upside than broad stock indexes. The spot XRP ETFs are the most important ETFs that are going to hit this market, and there is a hell of a lot of them that are set to go live in October. But I just wanted to share with you the different types of ETFs that are out there based around crypto. And Hunter Horsley says 6 to 12 months from now, the big story in crypto is going to be credit and borrowing. It will be explosively growing over the next few years. Two vectors. One, there's nearly $4 trillion of crypto and growing. When people can borrow against this crypto rather than sell, they will. Two, there's over $60 trillion in public equities alone in the United States. As assets tokenize, someone with $7,000 of a stock will be able to borrow against that for the first time on-chain. Crypto is going to reshape capital markets. It's just getting started. The second that people can borrow against their crypto, they will never sell their crypto ever again, because borrowing against it also eliminates the taxes on it when you sell it. Anybody that sells into fiat, they're going to regret it over the coming years, most likely over the next year or two, because what's happening right now? The dollar is losing more and more value every single day, while cryptocurrencies continue to rise. This comes from Smoke. The Emerging Payments Association urges UK Parliament to consider XRP for cross-border payment innovation as a technology that is shifting global financial power. XRP is on the radar of UK policymakers. The benefit of a Ripple-based messaging system backed with XRP, the Ripple token, for real-time transmission of both the message and the funds is that transfers no longer require banks at each end of a transaction, with the necessary liquidity to be fulfilled. With smart contracts, the ability to create 100% guaranteed letters of credit, for example, show the power this new technology possesses. And of course, it's documented. You know, anybody out there, the adults in the room that are out there, all know that XRP is the future. But retail investors still want to deny that XRP is going to be utilized all around the world. Then there's this. So Ripple was in the UK meeting with the Chancellor and US Treasurer Scott Bessent, while at the same time Trump was with King Charles. Ripple's managing director said, and I quote, to set a template for international cooperation. Now that just happened, and this happened as well. IMF names Scott Bessent's chief of staff, Dan Katz, to the #2 post. You can't make this up. Do you honestly think that the IMF doesn't know the plan by now? You know, everything is getting positioned right now. The treasurer, Scott Bessent, I think they're going to launch a totally different stablecoin for the U.S., a totally different digital dollar. Remember last year we used to talk about the treasury dollar coming in 2025? I think that's already in the works. I think that is already set in motion, and that's going to be an asset-backed digital dollar. The rest of these stable coins that they're tying to all the debt are going to be tied to the Fed and the current U.S. dollar. That's the direction I think this is going in, but that's just my working theory. But you can't make it up. When you see all of this coming together like this, this doesn't happen by accident. This was coordinated. Julio Moreno, head of research at CryptoQuant, estimated that between 1% and 4% of XRP circulating supply could be absorbed by ETFs in the first year, equivalent to 600 million to 2.4 billion tokens, or 1.8 to 7.2 billion dollars at current prices. Those ETFs are going to be holding actual XRP. And again, that could cut into the circulating supply. I always talk about how we are on the path to scarcity. You see it now, all happening in real time. At the same time these ETFs are set to launch, we also have companies creating XRP treasuries as well. And then there's a lot of XRP that is actually lost as well. I'll talk about that in a minute. But this goes down the path of the Shane Ellis theory. The Shane Ellis theory is a speculative concept within the XRP community that suggests the price of XRP could experience a sudden massive spike to a high value, such as $500 or more, or 589, due to a combination of market mechanics and institutional demand. What is happening right now? We're already seeing the early signs of institutional demand. So liquidity dynamics. According to the theory, the price of XRP is not tied to its circulating supply, but rather to the amount of liquidity required for institutional transactions. Bigger transactions are going to require a much higher price XRP. If large financial institutions begin using XRP for cross-border payments and require high-value transactions, the price could rise sharply to accommodate their liquidity needs. And then there's the low order book depth. So the theory claims that if a single buyer or group of buyers places significant buy orders on exchanges with low order book depth, limited buy-sell orders, the price could skyrocket in a very short time. This is based on the assumption that exchanges would not be able to meet the sudden demand at the current price levels, forcing the price higher. And what's going on right now? XRP seems to be disappearing off of Coinbase, also on Binance now as well. Closed ecosystem transactions. Proponents of the theory argue that financial institutions could use XRP in a closed ecosystem where they buy XRP directly from exchanges or Ripple's escrow and trade among themselves. In this scenario, retail investors might not have significant influence over the price, and institutional demand would drive up the price anyway. Then there's the speculative value. The theory also hinges on the idea that once XRP is adopted at a larger scale, its speculative value could multiply due to FOMO, fear of missing out, and increased visibility in the market. And back then, when this theory came out, there was no talk of market cap multiplier. Nobody was even looking at that back then. They're now looking at that today. But of course, every theory comes with criticism. And when this theory came out, we were not where we are today as far as institutions getting involved with crypto. We were not at the point where companies were buying and holding crypto. There was no ETFs back then. Everything is playing out according to this theory so far. Let's see if it continues. Data indicates over 500,000 wallets hold 10.7 million XRP in idle balance. So these are wallets that are just holding XRP, and nothing has happened with these wallets for any period of time. Back in 2013, you needed to hold 20 XRP for each wallet created. Then it dropped. It was only 10 XRP needed to open a wallet. Today, it's only 1. And the reason I think that happened was because they already know the price of XRP is going to continue to rise. So just to get a wallet, say XRP was at, I don't know, say $100, right? It would cost you maybe right now, $100 to keep a wallet active. Back then, when it required 20 XRP, it would cost you $2,000 to get a wallet. Even at 10, it would cost you $1,000 to get a wallet once XRP reaches 3 digits. The fact that it only requires 1 XRP now, that's a lot better than it was in the past. Because even at the current prices, think about it. You know, you're going to get an XRP wallet and you need at least 20 at $3. So you're looking at $60 just to open a wallet at today's prices. It would end up pricing people out sooner than later. Singapore's alignment with ISO 222 unlocks interoperability with Ripple. Moreover, Singapore's alignment with ISO 222, the same messaging standard supported by Ripple, facilitates interoperability that legacy systems like SWIFT have long dominated. However, Ripple achieves this with near-instant transactions, making it a potentially superior alternative for time-sensitive cross-border transfers. You know why people are going to choose to use Ripple over SWIFT? Because people want that payment to be there before they hang up the phone. They no longer want to wait hours, days, for that transaction to show up on the other end. And even now, SWIFT, it's not getting any better. The difference between Ripple and SWIFT is RippleNet also has settlement. You could settle with XRP. You cannot settle with SWIFT. You got to wait, and it's a long process. And if it's a holiday weekend, people get pissed off. That's why all these banks are also going to push away from SWIFT. They're already looking for a better alternative. This is big news as well. SBI Holdings unveils SBI Hyper Deposit with XRP gifts and lower mortgage rates. Japanese financial giant SBI Holdings has launched SBI Hyper Deposit, a service automating transfers between banks and securities accounts to attract early adopters. SBI is offering XRP cryptocurrency rewards and reducing mortgage rates. showcasing its commitment to integrating blockchain technology into financial services. People will use this just for the XRP rewards. You know, we are on the verge of institutional adoption. I'm talking about large-scale institutional adoption. Right after that happens, we will experience full-blown mass adoption. These institutions are going to be the ones that get everybody else on board, because these institutions have competition. They have competitors. So when their competitors look at these institutions that are getting involved with crypto and blockchain, they either get involved or they get left behind. It's going to set off a massive network effect, and it's going to happen very quick when it happens. But until it does happen, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.